Good evening, Malden. Welcome to TMZ, the Malden Zone. I'm your host, Joe Piantedosi. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the annual New England Restaurant Show. I am Joe Piantedosi from the Piantedosi Baking Company. A booth right over there if you want to go over and see it later. Is everyone enjoying the show? Excellent. We have a very special guest. He's actually my idol. If you know me, you know I've adored this guy. He's just wonderful. He's a television icon. He's a legend. And he was named by Larry King America's National Treasure. So please welcome to our stage and to our show today, Mr. Regis Philbin. You know that song?
Yes, I've heard that song
a couple
of times.
Yeah.
Can you hear me at all?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
No.
You can't hear me? I'm sorry.
All right. Who else we got here?
Well, we have a very special guest that would like to say hello to you and offer you something. He is a great friend to the restaurant industry here in Boston. It's the mayor of Boston, the longest serving mayor in the city of Boston, 20 years, Mayor Thomas Mannino. Here he is. The mayor.
Mayor, nice to be here.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being at the New England Seafood Show. Wow. I came here because Donato said I had to come here for one thing. But let me tell you, when there's seafood, I'll come anywhere. And thank you for what you make for our industry in the city of Boston, our culinary industry. It's so great. I thank you all for the... But you know, you have to be aware of what's happening with you guys, folks, in the regulations they're trying to do in Washington. You got to organize. Like today you have down in Washington, make sure those folks down in Washington can't put the regulations they want on the folks who catch the seafood for you, because it's getting costlier and more costly to continue your businesses out there. But we have Regis Philbin with us today, a legend out there. Not an icon, a legend. You know, he has the world record for the longest time before a TV camera. Just think about that. How long was that?
About nearly 7,000 hours. About as long as you've been in office.
The only issue I have with this guy is he's a Yankees fan.
Thanks a lot, Mayor.
Hey, yo.
Lost the crowd right here.
I know you're going to woo this crowd, but I had to make it a little dampen it a little bit.
He's also a big Patriots fan, though, Mr. Mayor.
What?
Big Patriots fan he is.
Oh, great. Good Patriots, right, yeah. Let me just say, you know, the humor he brings, the intelligence he brings to the media was wonderful when he was on the air with Kelly, right?
Kathy Lee.
Kelly and yourself for so many years, and now today you're going to address the New England Food Show group here, and I thank you for being here. Joe Piantedosi, thank you for all you do, and where's your bread? We want some bread here, pal.
We have plenty of bread.
Where is it? Tell me where it is. I'll go get some.
Our booth is right over there.
We'll put some haddock under between this bread, and we'll have a haddock sandwich, right? I have a little certificate of recognition. Just the hardest working man in show business. Thank you for all the years. You've made people so happy, and so many folks who watch you on TV and all the events you do throughout the year, bringing joy to so many folks. Regis, thank you for being in our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much. Is that for me?
That's for you.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks,
Mayor Mannino, everybody. Thank you.
Val, thank you.
Thanks very much, Mayor. I appreciate it. Take care.
You have a seat. I wanted this to look like your old set. I know it doesn't really look.
It looks just like it. Been with this guy all morning. He makes bread. He makes, I said, how many bread? 1 million loaves a day, honest to God. And he sends me at Christmas 60 loaves of bread. I love the bread, but what the hell am I going to do with 60 loaves? Can't fit it in.
Well, I know Joy makes French toast with you on Sunday mornings, right?
Yeah, she does.
But
So
anyway,
here we are, Joe.
well,
What do you want?
Great to have you here.
Thank you.
And it's basically I wanted to talk about your career and actually how it parallels the restaurant industry. And I think it's...
First of all, I think the restaurant, I got a big kick out of. I was, two guys came up to me in New York City. Said, we're going to start a restaurant 3 blocks away from where you shoot your show every morning. We'd love for you to be a shareholder. They had Nureyev, the great Russian dancer. They had a couple of celebrities. So I said, fine. So I kicked in my money. And they were excellent restaurant guys, and I admired what it takes to have a good restaurant. I mean, you depend on so many people. It's almost like putting on a great television show. So many people involved. From the minute you walk in that door, that person who greets you should be on the ball, hello, how are you, that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
The waiters, the waitresses, the bartender, everybody involved, not to mention the chefs in the back room and so on. It's a big operation.
Yep.
And when you get a good restaurant, you have so many of them here in Boston, you become attached to them.
Right.
They become part of your life.
Now, you're a foodie by I guess, growing up. You grew up
Yeah.
with an Italian mother. I think that helped probably open up your eyes to great food.
They were great. See, my mother was Italian. My father was Irish. But it was all Italian.
Yeah.
My poor father on Sunday, my mother's sisters and their husbands and the kids, everybody would descend on our little place in the Bronx. And my poor Irish father, cut out. Just, couldn't get into it. But yeah, it was great food.
And your wife is Italian now, so I'm sure...
Half Italian.
Yeah, so but she's a great cook too.
She's an
from
excellent cook,
hear,
and we love your bread. We really do,
yeah.
Joe. Thank you.
Well, great plug. I like that. That's excellent.
How many times can I say it?
That's excellent. Now, it's funny because, you've been on television forever, as we all know.
Look at here.
And from the
Let's
mayor...
see how many hours the mayor gave me.
Yeah.
Nothing.
You started your talk shows out in L.A. This thing isn't staying on. But I think you were one of the first to have cooking segments. Is that true?
I think so, too. I mean, I don't remember seeing any cooking segments on a talk show until we started doing it. And we did an awful lot of it on my morning show here out of New York City.
Right.
Yeah, it was always, and the people loved it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We had all the best chefs come on and cook their best dishes.
Yeah. And also, you were really a food critic. I mean, you would sit on the show every morning at 9 o'clock, and you never panned restaurants, but you certainly gave the good ones plugs.
Yeah.
If you had a bad experience, you wouldn't name the restaurant.
I think they're very important to every city to have excellent restaurants.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I know in New York you have a few favorites, and I've frequented
I'm sure you have, yeah. Great Italian food.
The Fresco restaurant that's on the Today
Fresco
Show.
restaurant is
Yeah,
great.
the
Il
Scottish.
Tonello, Valbella.
Valbella, yeah.
These are great restaurants.
Some great restaurants.
So what do you want, Joe? You want me to talk about something?
Yeah, well, it's funny.
Look at
What...
my mother's Italian. My father's Irish.
my,
Goodbye, everybody.
You, about a year or so ago, you met my son for the first time, and you gave him some great advice. And it's funny because it stayed with him. And,
well, that's good.
Do you remember what you said?
He seemed like a nice young guy, and he seemed on the quiet side, that was me growing up. As a matter of fact, can you people hear me at all out there? Hello, can you hear me? Because it seemed like we're not carrying out there.
Yeah, you can hear us, right, everybody? Yeah. They can hear us. Plus, they can see us. We're still behind us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Anyway, growing up, I was listening to the radio. It wasn't even television in those days when I was growing up. And I became attracted to one voice on the radio, who was Bing Crosby. And Bing Crosby was the one who set the stage for Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Perry Como, Tony Bennett, all those guys. And I met them all, talked to them all, and they all said the same thing. It was Bing on the radio that got them interested in singing. So just to show you how things go on in your life and become coincidental and come back later on in your life and be a part of your life. I try to explain to your son that, you know, you really should have confidence. But I never had any confidence. And my Italian mother always wanted to know, what are you going to do with your life? What do you want to become? You want to become a doctor? You want to become a lawyer? No appeal. And I didn't have the heart to tell her I wanted to be Bing Crosby. So I go to Notre Dame, and I hang around with a guy named Gus for 4 years. He's in the party. About 4 days before I graduate, I find out he could play the piano. And I promised my mother and father I would tell them what I wanted to do with my life the day before I graduated. They're coming to Notre Dame. This guy plays the piano. I said, Gus, do you know Pennies from Heaven? Yeah. So I said, all right, fine, let's go rehearse it. We rehearsed it in the music hall. And that's what I was going to sing for my mother, to let her know that that's what I wanted to do. No lessons, no ability, just that song. I wanted to sing it. So my mother and father come. They say, don't say anything, Mom. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. We walk across the Notre Dame campus, go to the music hall. Gus is waiting. We walk in the door. Cue Gus. Every time it rains, pennies from heaven. My mother starts to cry. My father, Irish, Marine, boxer, begins making fists. So I see it's going to be a problem. So I say, it's not me, I'm crazy. Maybe I'll go into television. And that's how. But I could never admit what I wanted. I had to go into service. I was on a LSM squadron that no longer in operation, but I was there with the squadron. I was the supply officer for the squadron, about 4 or 6 ships. When they came into the port in San Diego, most of the officers were married. I was still single. I went to the bachelor officers' quarters, and I met these 2 Marines, guys who were, 10, 15 years older than me, who had gone into the Marine Corps during the Depression of the 30s, no jobs, no money, nothing, Marines. And on the battlefields of World War II, each of them had a situation where their commanding officer, the young lieutenant in charge of them and the regiment, was killed. And they, being sergeants at the time, became officers right there, right on the spot. Now they were majors, and they had been through the Korean War as well. They were professional Marines there for the Corps for the rest of their lives. When it came time for me to leave, I still wasn't sure what I was going to do because I didn't have any talent. I didn't know what my talent would be. I'd watch people on TV. They were great actors. They were singers. They had beautiful voices to report the news. I didn't have any of that. So this really tough guy came in and he said, so what are you going to do with the rest of your life? And I said, I'd like to go into television, but I don't know what I would do. I don't have any talent. How am I going to get? He said, don't you know, and I told this to your son, don't you know you can have anything you want in this life? You've only got to want it bad enough. Now, do you want it? I said, yes, I want it, but I don't know what. He said, I said, do you want it? I said, yes, sir. I want it. I didn't want to aggravate him. And I got out. He said, get in the car, go to Hollywood and make it happen. I went up there and I got a job moving furniture around at a TV station, KCOP Channel 13. The guy said, you go home. Haven't been home in a couple of years. I'll call you. Don't call me. I went home. My uncle who worked for CBS said, what, you want to go to television? All right, he said, I'll get you a job as a page at NBC. Got a job as a page. First job was the beginning of The Tonight Show. Jay Leno stars in that now, but it began with a guy named Steve Allen. And it didn't begin at 30 Rock. It began on 44th Street in New York City at the Hudson Theater. I was a page, second balcony, first day there. And I'm looking out over these talented people. Steve Allen was brilliant, played the piano, very funny, wrote books, wrote music. He had a repertory company of, if you remember some of these names, Louis Nye,
Tom Poston, right?
Tom Poston, and Bill Dana. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And to sing, it was Steve Lawrence and Edie Gourmet. And to see these people rehearse, I said, oh my God, I'll never make it. Anyway, that's how it all started for me. The guy called, I went out to Hollywood. I did all the moving and driving the truck around, bringing back films and so on. A little job opened up in San Diego, back to San Diego. And it was in a little car reporting the news from the car. The guys on the TV station heard me reporting, gave me a job there, and that's how I got in. And so, you know, the years go by, and I see Jack Parr on the screen, and I say, this is the kind of guy that I think I could be like. Somebody to just tell a story about what he did the night before. Not reading somebody's jokes that, you know, 8 joke writers wrote the night before. So that's how it started. And they brought me up to Hollywood. It was the Westinghouse CBS guys. And they gave me a job, this is 9 years after I began, a job on a show where I would be replacing Steve Allen. It was just ironic, and I felt so badly about it because I admired him so much, couldn't do what he did. They said, who do you want on the show? First guest. I said, you know, my mother used to go get her tea leaves read. I want, give me an astrologer. We got a guy from LA named, what the heck is, he was a great astrologer. I'll think of it in a minute. Anyway, he came on the show for the first time, and I said, all right, you know what my birth date is and what the date of this show beginning is. What's going to happen? Is it going to be a hit? He said, the show will never make it. Just like that.
On the air.
On the air. We did 13 weeks. We got renewed. And I got cocky. And I said, bring him back. They brought him back. I said, you know, much of what you said was true. We had a rocky beginning, finally got picked up. I see blue sky. What do you see? He said, I see you going off in 48 hours. 36 hours later, they called me to the Beverly Hills Hotel. I thought Henry Fonda had dropped off the show for that night. And they said, Reg, it's not making it. We're going to go with Merv Griffin. So then Merv Griffin came in. So, you know, I had another little show, and Joey Bishop was picked up by ABC. ABC wanted the late night show. He was looking around for an Ed McMahon. He saw me on this show that I was, local show that I was doing. And people called me up and said, Joey wants to see you. So I said, gee, you know, Joey Bishop hanging around with Sinatra and the Rat Pack and the whole thing. Yeah, this is going to be big. So I came to his office, and I walked in, and he said, Regis, I saw you last night. You got a lot of talent. I got cocky. I said, really, Joey, what's my talent? And he stood up, and I looked up at him, and he stood there for a long time thinking about what my talent was. And then finally he said, you are a great listener. And that was it. And that's how we got that show. And finally Joey left, and I pitch hit for him the last couple of weeks. And the last show, they said, well, who would you like for the last show? I said, bring back that astrologer. They bring him back. So I said, what do you see? What do you see in the future? What about Joey? He said, well, Joey's going to go into semi-retirement. This is 1969. And Johnny Mann with the band, he's going to get a show this year, but, you know. I said, well, what do you see for Regis? He said, oh, the name Regis is going to become a national word all around the country. I said, you're kidding me. Really? I said, when is this going to happen? He said, well, not right away. I said, well, how long? 6 months? A year? I could wait. I could wait a year. Honest to God. He said, 20 years.
Wow.
And that's exactly how it worked out. 20 years. 1988, after starting the show in 83 in New York, we went syndicated. Boston, all around the country in 88. By 89, people knew who Kathy Lee and I were.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
The perseverance that you had, and you are a household name, and I mean, it's like Cher, I mean, Bono, Regis. I mean, you just say the first name. I mean, I'd walk through the airport with them this morning, and Regis, everyone's yelling out to you. And to have you be a household name, but it wasn't easy for you. And what's your restaurants, I mean, so many restaurants open up, and unfortunately they fold. And it's just so disappointing. But you, I mean, you could have walked away and you could have become a salesman of some
I
sort.
almost did walk away. I got to tell you, he wasn't kidding when he said 20 years. That was 69. By 74, I was going around the country because, you know, we lost the Joey show, and they don't pick you up right away like next week. It takes a while. Anyway, I went to Denver. I did sports in Denver. St. Louis, I had a show. I went to Chicago. Somebody had died on the show there, and so I took it over for the entire summer of 1974. And I thought I had that job. I was so sure because everybody liked it, and I was happy in Chicago. And at the end of the line, the guy came to me and said, geez, Reg, I'm sorry, but it's not going to work out. So I was so disturbed that I just, instead of turning right and going to the airport in Chicago, I turned left and didn't know where I was going. Didn't want to go home. Went over a bridge. And you know that years and years ago when I went to Notre Dame, Frank Leahy was the coach. He had
also
played
coach at BC prior to
BC before Notre Dame. You're right. That's where Notre Dame got him. He was a great coach at BC and a great coach at Notre Dame. And after the war, he was undefeated in 46, 47, 48, 49. And that's when I went there in September of 49. So no one at Notre Dame had ever seen Notre Dame lose a football game at the end of that run, that 4-year run. So in the 5th year, in the second game, we played Purdue. And Purdue had a great passer, Dale Samuels. I'll never forget him. Purdue won by 2 touchdowns. Me and my guys sat in the rain, couldn't believe we saw Notre Dame lose a game. So we went around the stadium to the coaches, to the team locker room, waited outside the door in the rain. And there was a tree behind the door. And I saw this kid climb the tree because he wanted to see this moment. Big crowd developed. Finally, Leahy, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's not good.
Yeah, they're not good.
Sorry.
You got good bread. Not good. So anyway, there was Leahy came out, stood in the rain. Didn't tell us why we lost the game or how we lost the game, but he tried to explain to us the feeling we were having. We had never seen them lose. And he explained to us, there's going to be losses in your life. Everyone has a loss, some kind of a loss that comes. So you should use this loss, to give you the strength to cope with the big losses that are going to happen later on, and give you the will to overcome that loss and make something of your life. Now, I'm on the road. I see South Bend, and this is 1974, and this is like, I don't know, 25 years later. And I'm driving, and I see South Bend, and I say, I'm going to go back to Notre Dame. So I get off at Notre Dame, go down, there's the Golden Dome, there's the stadium. I knew Ara Parsegian. He had been a guest on my Chicago show. I turned right, I went down, and as I approached the Notre Dame Stadium with the tree outside, it all came back to me. I mean, I was really down in the dumps. I wanted to give it up. And there was that kid in the tree, and there were the people, and there was Leahy standing in the rain, telling us one day you will have a loss that will almost flatten you, but you've got to come back. And beginning right now with this loss, make yourself stronger. Make it happen. And all of a sudden, I felt better. I went in to see Ara and the coaches. We went out on the field. I caught a few footballs. Oh, we timed the new quarterbacks coming to school in 1974, and one of them was the slowest of the ball, and his name was Joe Montana, and he went on to become one of Notre Dame's great. So that gave me the strength to go home. And here's just one more coincidence, and then we'll take questions and anything you want. But when I got the job replacing Steve Allen, they brought me back to Boston, and it landed at Logan Airport. And there was a band, a high school band, out on the runway. I said, what are those kids out there for? Oh, I said, is a celebrity on the plane? And the guy with me said, no, this is for you, Regis. Yeah, we want to, give you a nice welcome. The kids were playing the Notre Dame fight march from some high school. I got in the car, and every block that we passed on our way to the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, there was a guy holding a sign saying, welcome, Regis, welcome. And one corner, and I hope you ladies are not offended, it's kind of, but this is the way this guy was. As I drove by, his sign was facing down, and this was his sign to me. So I got all, why? Why is he doing that? They said, that's John Severino. He works here at BZ as a salesman. We wanted him to be a part of this, and he's leaving the station as of tomorrow, and he didn't want to stand in the rain. I said, okay, fine. When I went to Chicago and did the show there, Severino was there one day only. He was leaving the day that I started. He was going to Hollywood to be the guy there at ABC in Los Angeles. And as he left, he said to the guy producing the show, he's pretty good. So I remembered that. Anyway, I finally screwed up enough courage to go home. It was in August, and went through all the waiting around. And one day the phone rings, and it was John Severino. See how from one phase, from Boston to Chicago to L.A. He remembered. He brought me back, and I did the news for him, and I did the morning show, and all of a sudden it became a big major thing. My big break in life.
One more story before we go to questions that I really like. When you were on the Joey Bishop show, one night you went out to the audience.
No, you're right.
To fill time, and this is a great story. You have to hear this. Yeah, we're going to use the mic. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you very
much. You know, Hawaii, give the guy this when he sits here. Really, you should. You know what I'm saying? Thanks. Should I start over again?
Yeah. We'll play the Notre Dame fight song to start.
So, you know, when I worked with Joey Bishop, he had some writers, and then he had me in the wing, and his plan was for me to come over and bring up anything I wanted to with him. So a couple of things happened on the show because he was unprepared for what he didn't want to be prepared for. He wanted to be spontaneous, and he was at his best when he was spontaneous. But I had to walk with him every day in Los Angeles to relax him before the show, because he was really a comedian, not a talk show host, but a good comedian and good enough to be a talk show host. So we would walk every day, 45 minutes, up to Hollywood Boulevard and back. And it got down to, and I did all the talking because he didn't talk, got down to, what did you want to be when you were a kid? I asked him. He said, when I was a kid, 10 years old in Philadelphia, I would stand on the street corners of Philadelphia, tell jokes, and people would fall down laughing. I wanted to be a comedian. And he became a darn good comedian. What about you? I said, well, believe it or not, when I was a kid growing up, I used to listen to Bing Crosby on the radio. And I knew all of his songs, and, you know, I thought I wanted to be Bing Crosby. So you all know what happened to Notre Dame. And finally, one night on the Bishop show, who's the guest tonight? Bing Crosby. Well, I was thrilled. The man was an icon. He was a giant. And he sat right over here, and they wanted Bing to sing on the show, but they were afraid to ask him because he was so big. So they said, Joey said to him, Bing, see this kid? Knew all your songs when he was a kid. Why don't you sing a song to him? Bing Crosby turned, looked at me, and sang Tora Lora Lora. It was beautiful. But Joey didn't have enough. He said, Regis, you know all the Crosby songs. Sing a song to Bing. What do you think I sang? Every time it rains, for about the 18th time. The next day, I got a recording contract for Mercury Records in Chicago. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Anyway, so that's what Bishop was like. One night I walked out there and he said, Regis, tonight go out. It was in 1968 or 9. American cities were on fire. Everything was going wrong. We were in Vietnam. There was a racial thing, you know, bad. But he said, go out and get some young kid and ask him what he's going to do with his life. I said, okay, fine. And how is he going to help America when he grows up? I go out, there's one kid sitting there. He stands up, he's got glasses on. I said, well, you heard what Joey said. He wants to know what you're going to do with your life. What is it that you want to do, you know, when you get out there? And how are you going to help this country? And the kid looked at me, and he couldn't answer me. And I'm looking at him saying, my God, this was me when I was his age, 18, 19 years old. Couldn't say it, what you wanted. Didn't think you were worthy for whatever reason. Finally, I try him again. I said, just relax for a minute and tell us, what is it you're thinking of? No answer. So I felt sorry for him, and I said, hey, but thanks anyway, and good luck to you. It was a live show. Couldn't stop. Went on to the next kid. Got whatever he said. 35 years go by. I'm in New York, and Joy and I are there to see a preview of a big movie, see the movie, and the girl who is in charge of previewing the movie says, Regis, come upstage and meet somebody. I go upstage, and there's a guy behind 4 men, and they're talking to him. And I wait, and I wait, and I finally said, well, you know, I don't want to bother anybody. So I moved on, and the voice said, Regis, wait a minute. There's something I want to tell you. So he came over, and he said, you know, years ago, I was at the Joey Bishop show, and you wanted to know what I wanted to do with my life. And you came down into the audience, and you asked me, and I couldn't answer you. And I said, you know, honest to God, I remember that moment, because that was what I went through when I was your age. He said, well, every time I see you on TV, I get a wrench in my heart. And I just wanted you to know that. I said, well, thank you. And his name was, and is, Steven Spielberg. So that's that story there.
That's a great story. Yeah, and our son is a big Spielberg fan, and he heard you tell that story, and that moved him as well. So that was very motivational.
Why don't we have a few questions from the
Absolutely.
audience?
My assistant, Jackie Powers, is here in the audience with a...
Where's Jackie?
Right there. You can't miss her.
She's your assistant, huh?
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey, Reed.
it's a good loaf of bread. Want to tell you? Yes, Jackie. Anybody put your hand up if you want to ask a question, right here or here, whatever.
Well, come on, right down front.
Bill Zimmer.
Hi. Just want to know about your new show. By the way, this is the vice president of BC, who you handily beat this year.
Yeah, so many times you broke our heart, I'll tell you. When you had Tom Coughlin there coaching BC and you played us, and Notre Dame was 1 game away from winning a national. I don't want to talk about it now. But yeah, I'm going to join. Fox is going to start a brand new network, Fox Sports Network. You know ESPN, that is put out by ABC. They're running away with it. All these networks are now going to have NBC Sports and the CBS Sport, and Fox is going to start one in August. And I'm going to be there 5 o'clock in the afternoon with
Live,
all
right?
of my people, live every day.
Monday through Friday.
Yeah,
Excellent.
starting in August. Thank you.
Okay.
Jackie, who else?
Do you have a question right here?
Juliet.
Regis, you were talking about loss earlier, and I was wondering how your perspective back then of understanding how little losses would prepare you for the biggest loss. What was your biggest loss in your life, and did that really apply? Did it help, that understanding?
Well, I had a son who was born with no legs. I mean, he had legs, but he couldn't walk. Never walked. Never had a chance. Whole life in a wheelchair. He's okay now. He went to college. He went to Catholic University in Washington. was in the Pentagon when the plane hit the Pentagon. And, you know, he worked, had a good life, but he wanted to go back to Palm Springs. And so he did. But he's there now, but just the fact that that's what happened to my boy is a heartbreak.
Wow.
That's a loss I was not prepared for.
Yeah.
Thank you, Regis.
Next, Jackie.
Who's next?
Gentleman right over there, Jackie.
Uh-oh, this could be a problem. A guy with a crew cut.
Thanks for taking my question.
You bet.
You started out, at first I was really shocked that you were here because I had couldn't get the connection.
Put your mic a little closer.
Couldn't-
Why were you so shocked that I was
couldn't
here?
get your connection.
Don't
to
you think I like good food?
Yeah, everybody does. And that's why I'm here today. I'm Russell with GKT Refrigeration, and I just love the restaurant industry. But you touched on something that really is touching me now, and that is what are you going to do when you grow up? And I couldn't believe that you said that because I have young children, and that is my desire, is to get kids to really find out what do you want to do when you grow up. And I've started this organization called Skilled Trades Nation, and I want to introduce young children out of high school or re-career people to, like, somebody that comes back home from Iraq, a veteran or something like that. What are your thoughts on gearing our youth towards learning a skill, skilled trades?
I think it's a wonderful idea you've got there. You actually started it yourself? Keep the. So how many kids do you have?
Personally, I have 4 of my own children.
But in your little school that you started.
Yeah, it's not really a school. What it is I go around. It's called Skills USA Rhode Island. That's the organization. And they gather kids from, in Rhode Island. There's 2 Voc schools, Charahoe and Providence Career Tech. And they have a skills competition. And I'm a judge at one of them. And that's kind of the beginning of what I want to do to help these young children.
And the beginning of what they're going to do maybe for the rest of their lives. You should take a lot of pride in doing that. See, here's a guy who's helping kids. What are you doing with the bread?
Thank you very much, Regis. And I really just want everybody to know and realize that the skilled trades are something that is useful
Very
to this
important.
country.
Very important.
And you touched on, you said, what are you going to do for America? The skilled trades are the backbone of America.
Absolutely. Hey, good luck, buddy. Nice of you
Now,
to say that.
one thing we didn't mention is, of course, Rachel Ray is a big celebrity chef, and she hosts a daily show, and you're a
Rachel
monthly
Ray
co-host.
called me when I was free and said, would you like to come on my show once a month? We'd love to have you. I've known her for a long time. She's a great lady, the hardest working woman I've ever worked with, and I've had a lot of great co-hosts over the years. But Rachel Ray, you know, when I do the show with her, it's the live one show, and then she does 2 more after that, and then she does a show on the Cooking Network.
Right.
I'm telling you, she's just never stops.
Yeah.
And then she'll maybe go on QVC and sell some pots and pans.
Yeah.
There's no stopping Rachel Ray.
I know something you have in common with Rachel Ray.
What's that?
You both share the same birthday. August 25th.
We do?
Yes.
No, I don't think
You
so.
do. I bet. We'll make a bet. I'm very good with birthdays, and I know that's her birthday.
How are you going to prove to me?
Ask
I don't
her.
think so.
I know so, honestly.
What you need is
I'm
one of
like-
these.
I'm
You're
like-
not going to get this, though.
No, you do. I'm a Virgo. You're a Virgo.
Is that right?
Yeah, I saw that yeah.
Well, I'll take your word for that.
Yeah.
I love her. I think
Yeah,
she's a great
she's great.
gal. Yeah.
My wife loves to watch her, and she's made quite a few of her dishes. And
Good, yeah.
it's,
Fabulous. And the whole cooking thing, believe me, Rachel Ray has done a lot to
Yeah.
ignite that around the
Exactly.
country.
Okay, more questions.
All right,
Next, guy with a hat.
St.
Another,
Patty's.
another problem here. When you see a guy in a hat, look, it's a green hat. He's got to be Irish.
Not Irish, Lithuanian.
Lithuanian, even worse. Okay. What do you got?
I want to say, followed you, your career, and I do remember you on the Joey Bishop show.
Thank you.
And I was, a young boy.
Sure.
And following what you were saying about dreams, I'm going to be 60 years old in July, and being an entertainer is something I've always wanted to do, but never really, like you said, if you want it, go for it. And I haven't really fully done it.
Did you go for it, or you're just thinking about going?
No, I do it on a part-time basis. You know, I do a lot of...
Let me ask you something.
Yes.
What would you consider to be your skill?
Impersonations.
What's that?
Impersonations. Impressionist.
Right behind you is a guy specializing in skills. This is coincidental, but it's great.
Yeah.
Do you teach impressions? No. Well, maybe you'll get a class of this. Let's hear somebody. Let's hear some.
I know little you, Regis. No.
Is that Regis?
No, no. I want to thank you for being here, Regis. When you talk, Regis, you kind of sound like you're nasal a little bit. That's a little bit like that. Not the best impression I do, but a little bit.
All right. Give me your best.
A good one? that was, what do you say my best one is?
Give me anything else.
All right, how about another talk show host past Johnny Carson?
This is Johnny Carson. It's a pleasure being here tonight with you, Regis.
That's good.
One of the presidents, my fellow Americans, make no mistake about it, Regis. I think you're one of the best talk show hosts.
Is he doing Obama? What else you got? Come on, one more, and then you're done.
Some of the old, how about like Jimmy Stewart? You like
Jimmy
right?
Stewart?
I just want to say, but to be here tonight with a great guy as Regis Philbin, it's a pleasure.
Hey, I got to tell you, you got something there. There's got to be clubs here in Boston.
Yep.
Why don't you go and jump up there and do
I do
fun?
a lot of the retirement communities and stuff like that, you know.
Well,
and
you start with you're at one right
well,
now.
they're the only ones that are going to know my jokes. I tell you, I get no respect at all. I got a kid at home,
Rodney
you know.
Dangerfield.
He drives me crazy.
Very good.
I had to get married. I proposed to my wife in the garage. I couldn't back out. Thank you, Regis.
Okay, thank you, buddy. Very nice.
Jackie,
Who's next?
Who dares to
This
follow
gentleman
that?
over here.
more questions?
Regis, next door is the seafood show. I'm wondering if you ever do any boating or fishing. What hobbies do you do?
You know, I really haven't. I guess I don't know why. I've been on lakes and so on, and once in a while, years ago, I did do a little fishing. But no, it's escaped me. But a lot of friends of mine are big on that.
Tennis is your thing, right?
Tennis, yeah, I play a little tennis, yeah. So how's business? Good?
Well, I'm not a fisherman. I do a radio show about boating and fishing and about the ocean. And the
Oh, yeah.
fishermen are having a real tough time, Regis.
Having a tough time?
Yeah.
Very tough time because of the regulations.
Oh.
You know, they base all the landings on what they catch. And the
Well,
catch,
why did you say something while the mayor was
the
here?
catches go. You notice the mayor did say something. The mayor did bring it up. But, you know, they based all the landings on the catch. I'm sorry, they based all the population of the fish on the landings. And the landings are going down every year because of the regulations.
Jesus, I got my own problems here. I was happy when I came here. I thought the food show was going to be fun. All of a sudden, I got a guy that's, good luck. I don't know what to say, but that's interesting that's what's hurting your business.
Yeah. No, but next.
Who's next? You're bringing me all the way to the other side?
We have a lady right there, too, actually.
This is your
Assistant,
There
yeah,
you
that's
are.
Jackie. Jackie Butler.
right. Sure, Joe. Right. Hey, there he is.
Hey, Regis, how
Hi.
are you? Can
Good.
you hear me?
Sure.
Okay. I saw you on television on CNBC about 10 days ago or so with Guy Adami.
Guy Adami, good friend. Yeah.
I know you like the Micron technology,
Yes.
and you also mentioned Apple.
Yes.
Did you listen to what he told you? He told you to sell it and buy it back when it goes.
Yeah. In case any of you have Apple, it's been a great stock. Made people some money, a lot of money in some cases. And I was complaining I hate to sell and take that loss. And I'm hoping that it doesn't go much below 400. So I feel if I buy a little more down here, I will, make the average price a little lower than it is now. Right. What would you do?
Well, I own a little bit myself.
Yeah.
And
What are you doing about it? Are you doing with Guy Adami?
no,
Then why do you bring up Guy Adami to me?
Because every time I see you on the show, you always have that thing with Guy.
Yeah.
And
Well, he's very smart in that, and I'm not. This is just a hobby. the stupid stock market.
It gets emotional.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get tied to you.
Absolutely.
But he said it's probably going down below 4.
Yeah.
Sell some now and then buy it lower, but you can buy more and just dollars.
What do you want me to do with it? I'll do anything you want before this guy stands up and starts doing Humphrey Bogart.
I say buy more. When it goes lower, buy some more and hold on until.
What did I tell Guy Adami? That's exactly what I said to him. I'm going to buy it when it goes down. I'm not going to sell the stuff that I'm stuck with up there. That's what you should do too.
Appreciate it, Regis.
Do you know Guy? Does he know you?
No, I do watch it. I watch Fast Money.
Somebody, yeah, it's a great show. It really is.
Yeah, I like
Good luck.
It. Yes, sir, Lee.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Is it time for Regis to go home now?
We're going to keep the Regis.
One last question. Anybody
Okay,
at
sure.
all? No. Oh, look at this.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, I'm not going to stand up because I'm really nervous.
Up, talk loud.
Okay. I love your show. Me and my cousin have been watching it since it was you and Kathy Lee, and we always wanted to, get onto your show, especially when it was Kelly. And I suffered my greatest loss when I found her dead 3 months ago unexpectedly. And it's not a question, but it's a favor, and I would just like, can I just have a hug? That would mean so much.
She wants a hug.
Want a hug?
Yeah, she would love me for it right now.
So you want me to hug you?
Yeah, or not. Well, yeah, both of us.
Come on.
You
Over here. Let's go, sister. Let's get it on, baby. Oh, this could be a problem. Is there any security here? Is the mayor still around? Mayor! Okay, lady. You've got to let go. Let go, lady! Lady, please!
That's very nice. Is that it? Are we you know what?
know.
Well, let me say something that you've written 3 books, right? I read all 3. Yeah. And this is the latest one. It's called Regis Philbin, How I Got This Way. And actually, they're being sold right across from us at Bookends.
Oh.
And Bookends from Winchester. And so please pick up a copy.
Thank
There's
you.
so many great stories.
These are about 30 people, and some of them I've talked about here who have inspired me, influenced me, made me want to be better. And just a couple of years ago, before I left the show, I started making notes. Oh, and here's the name of the astrologer, Sidney Omar. Thanks a lot. Anyway, thank you, folks. You've been just great. Hope you have a wonderful convention here. It's always great to come up in Boston and spend a little time here. Love the Patriots. Like the Red Sox. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
So that's our show for tonight, everybody. Thank you. Have a good one.
Get out of the dock and into the zone.
How come I never get my...